Thundercat. Cracker Island.
They didn't know as many strategies. They taught themselves to be a cow. They didn't know as many strategies.
I love that. Jason Kay is going to do the news next. Later, the Radio 2 Book Club, Gabrielle Zevin, author of the Book of the Month, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and Michael Connolly, best-selling author of the Harry Bosch crime novels. He's our guest reviewer. When we come back, today's oldies chosen by Steve Fern in Sheerness in Kent.
We're the BBC News at 3 o'clock. This is Jason Kay. The Prime Minister Boris Johnson says it's inevitable that people in the UK will face periods of difficulty because of the soaring cost of energy, as he faces growing calls to provide more help. The consumer champion Martin Lewis has urged Mr Johnson and the two contenders vying to replace him to make a collective decision now about further measures. Ministers have already announced extra funding to assist some households, but new estimates suggest some bills could rise to around £500 in January alone. Faye Durnelly, a student who lives with her 3-year-old daughter, says life is a struggle.
You know, showering my daughter for a minute a day just to try and cut down, and the standing charge for my electric has trebled. You're constantly watching the pennies. I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to afford clothing for my daughter, that I'm not going to be able to finish my course because I can't afford to run my household.
A former Shadow Minister for Labour has accused Sir Keir Starmer of misreading the mood of the public after he sacked a Shadow Transport Minister, Sam Tarry, when he joined railway workers on a picket line. Sir Keir has been criticised for the move by trade unions and his own MPs. Speaking to Sky News, John McDonnell described it as a severe mistake. Sir Keir defended his decision.
Sam Tarry was sacked because he booked himself onto media programmes without permission and then made up policy on the hoof, and that can't be tolerated in any organisation because we've got collective responsibility. So that was relatively straightforward. The Labour Party will always be on the side of working people.
The NHS says it'll close the Tavistock in North London, which is the UK's only dedicated gender identity clinic for children and young people. The clinic had been criticised for the way it cared for some of its patients. The service will be replaced by 2 specialist teams, one based in London, the other in the northwest. The final preparations are being put in place for the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham tonight. More than 6,500 athletes and officials are involved. It'll be the most expensive sporting event hosted in the UK since the London 2012 Olympics. The actor Bernard Cribbins has died aged 93. During a career spanning 7 decades, he featured in hit shows such as Doctor Who and The Wombles, as well as the 1970 film The Railway Children. The singer-songwriter Mike Batt worked on the theme song of The Wombles with him.
He was a wonderful guy to just be with. He was wonderful company. He was generous. He was great, of course, with kids, which says a lot about somebody. He was kind of rather mischievous and just great, funny, giggly company to be with. But he took his work very seriously and he was a fine actor.
Mike Batt remembering Bernard Cribbins, ending the BBC News at 3 minutes past 3.
Thanks, Jason. Stand by, here come the non-stops.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.
Now, that's brought to you daily by Steve Wright in the afternoon.